So we've got this brush here. It's an 88mm, or I guess 3.5 inches. We've got these guys here that are 75mm, or 3 inches, as my father used to call them. So you've got all different handle sizes. So even though this is a bigger brush, we'd probably use this outside on weatherboards. But the brush I'd suggest you guys get is something like one of these. Most brushes now come with this little protector, quite good, so that when you put them away, it keeps the brush back in a straight line. You want your brush nice and straight. When you're using it, go down to a chisel. So now, there's all different sorts. I find these brushes, they're a good value brush. You can find these in your local store. These or variants of. They'll last you the job. They're not very expensive, they're just under $10. And you can throw them away now. One quick tip with them, quite often, because brushes now don't normally have pure bristle brushes, they're synthetic. When you leave them in a paint pot or something, they can get a curl on the end. They'll curl up. Don't throw them out, wash them up, and when they're clean, go to your sink. Only when they're clean, you don't want that water going down into the drains. When they're clean, go into your sink, run some very hot tap water over them. Sometimes you might have to use a jug, but generally speaking, just the tap water, run it over one side, keep running it over it, and you'll see them straighten up. When you go to clean them and flick the water out of them, we kick them off on our boot, so the top of our boot, and we flick them. Make sure you don't kick them down here, or you'll bust what's called the ferrule, and you put it down in it, and when you do that, the bristles will turn out. Kick them on a bit of timber here, not too crazy, don't hurt your toe, make sure you got boots on. Kick them out. The other way you can do it is just let them hang and dry, or this here, which I've often been asked, what's that gizmo by builders? This is a brush spinner. It also works as a roll spinner, which I'll show you in a minute. So with these, they're quite hard to put your brush in. You've got to really force them in there. And slide down like that. You can get a paint pot or a bucket and sit them down in there. Now, don't spin. The paint automatically flicks out, of course. It pulls it to the side. The only problem you've got to have is sometimes if people go a bit crazy, they can spread your brushes as well, and you've got to go through the whole process. So a lot of times when they're clean, we'll kick them out. Using your solvent-based paints, you'll generally use one of these guys in a bucket because you don't want the turbs or the solvent going everywhere. You want to be able to contain it and get rid of it responsibly. So it's a very handy piece of kit. You can get away without using it because they are about $30 and something you don't need to waste money on if you're going to use it a few times. So that's basically our brushes. So again, we've got all different sides. And this is a used brush, same as that one. And I guess before I let you go, while we're talking about the brushes, we quite often use a wire brush in the building trades, especially in painting, cleaning down metal. So what we do with these is we get a paint pot. Paint pots are inexpensive, very good tool to keep. You set your brush just on the edge of there, and we clean down like this, and it cleans up. You see it there, hopefully starting to clean this ferrule line. The problem is, this brush has nearly had it. The problem is with it, if you leave paint like this in here, the parents might get a kick when I leave. If you leave paint like this, you're using less of your bristle. It gets very hard there, and you're only using it from here now. So make sure you clean them up without wrecking your brush. Don't go crazy. Just give it a light wire brush, mainly concentrating on this area here. Sometimes you might have to use a scraper, but generally with a bit of effort, a bit of water, you can really start to clean them up. As you can see through here, starting to clean up. Be a much better brush. A little trick with these, since I've got them, you can either pull them off like that. Be careful not to make more of a mess. If you've got it too bad and you just want to use it for a little job, you can cut it along there very carefully with a Stanley knife, wire brush them bristles off, and you've got a brush you can use again. Maybe not for finish work, but certainly for undercoating. So that's a few little tips and tricks for brushes. You don't need to buy the dearest one. What you need is a brush that works, that doesn't break the bank, and if you wreck it through the job, you don't want to be freaking out you've wrecked a $60 brush. You can throw these guys away because you bought a couple. So they're your brushes. So we're talking more in depth on brushes when we go painting.